in our repository and to tell you how you can contribute, what are the challenges. We'll show you how to start DocsGPT if you are new to the repo, what are issues, how to commit, and stuff like that. We'll also talk about API extension challenge, LexEU challenge, and LLM Price Compass. And after that, we'll have Q&A session, and also we'll have a small brainstorm session with you where we can think about new ideas, issues, and stage showcase. Yeah, I'll probably give it back to Alex so he can continue. And after that, I'll show you holopins and other prices.
Yeah, sorry, was making sure that the stream is working well and everything is good. I think this year we have a more organized Hacktoberfest because it's our second time doing it, and I think we prepared more things in general. We prepared some cooler prizes, cooler competitions, more guides. We are more hands-on this time with our PRs. I think everyone who submits or contributes something gets a reply within a few hours, a day maximum. We'll try our best to keep it low. And as you can see, both me and Pavel are wearing our special T-shirts for this live stream. I hope you enjoyed today, and I want Pavel to maybe quickly show README Hacktoberfest.md file, run us through it. This file is public and available on our GitHub, and also we can show some of our holopins that we have prepared for our contributors. We will give a holopin to every contributor who gets like a meaningful PR merged. And there are also some really cool prizes that you will hear about today, like cash prizes for competition for document analysis, and some more cool competitions that will be there waiting for you. So Pavel, if you can show is the screen sharing permission working? Okay, yeah, perfect. I can see your screen now.
Nice. So this is our Hacktoberfest MD for this year. Here we published everything that will be important to you guys. You can find all information regarding the challenges, how you can contribute, where to find everything. This should be a good starting point for everyone looking to contribute to DocsGPT this year, and not only DocsGPT, as you'll see here. So it describes all the prices, describes challenges. Here you can find instructions on how to contribute to DocsGPT. You can see that it's not only code, but also not code contributions. However, we advise you not to submit simple typos because we already seen some people who just submit one typo, some changes that are not even typos, but can be spelled differently, something like that. Those pull requests will not be awarded or a t-shirt, I can tell you that. And here at the bottom is a guideline for pull request. So you can find this markdown file in DocsGPT repository on GitHub. It has all the links you should need, has everything summarized. So this should be your starting point if you're looking to contribute. Next, I'll show you a case for you guys holopins to have this year. So this one is the main contributor holopin. We'll give it for your contributions to DocsGPT. This one is for API challenge we have. So if you build something with DocsGPT API, you get a chance to receive this holopin. This holopin marks our partnership with LexEU. They're a really cool company. They're using DocsGPT to give answers to lawyers, judges regarding EU law. You can check out the challenge. I think it's harder than the rest, but for someone who is more familiar with LLMs and RAG, this should be really cool as it has cash prices and also unique holopin. And this one is a holopin for LLM Compass. We'll post them in our channels later and on holopin so you can have a better look. Next, I wanted to mention this post. So on our LinkedIn, I think we have a similar post on our X or Twitter previously. So we have we'll have a shorts as prices for your commits, and we're currently running a small campaign. So you can submit your design request for shorts, and the best one is probably gonna win. We'll use it for short for this year. So if some of you want to contribute like that, want to send your designs, you're also welcome. If you want your t-shirt to win, then think what design you would want for this year. I think I'll pass it to Alex, and he'll next explain how to contribute to DocsGPT, how to start the repo and stuff like that.
Yeah, for every good contribution, I think it's good for people to understand how to launch DocsGPT, how to get started with it. So for this live stream, I actually prepared a completely fresh server. It has literally has nothing. It's a completely empty server. I just launched it, and I will show you some few cool commands, and I will also show you how I use, for example, our DocsGPT CLI tool to sometimes ask queries and help me optimize certain things whenever I don't know, work with servers or just want to ask a quick query.
Also want to say quick hi to everyone in the chat. Thank you for coming, guys. Hopefully the stream will be entertaining and helpful. I see that the people started coming now.
Let me share. There's one thing I don't like about this design thing today is it's not showing our theme that I really wanted to show, but I guess I'll just remove this logo maybe or hide it somewhere. I'll put it here maybe. So it's not annoying. All right, perfect. Can everyone see my screen? Pavel, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So first, I always like to purge my Docker environment before I do anything there, in case there's any residue. Because sometimes whenever you're building containers and rebuilding containers, there may be certain things that you simply don't want to be there. And I'll just quickly clear the cache in case there's anything there that doesn't need to be there. And I'll show you how to install DocsGPT from zero. So this is our repo on GitHub. You can quickly find it here. All you need to do is click code and then HTTPS, and then you'll have this short link. You can just copy it, go to your machine and type git clone in your terminal of choice. Here, I already connected to a server that's remote, and that's a bit of a difference between deploying DocsGPT remotely and locally, but this is Ubuntu, this is Linux. It will be similar on Linux environments, and it will work similarly on Windows environments. And anyways, most people will probably want to deploy it on a server, so that's why I decided to do it on a server. So once we clone DocsGPT repo, let's change directory to the repo. As you can see, there are some files here. And building it and launching it is actually really simple. But in this example, we are obviously working on a remote server. So what I need to do is to edit our Docker compose YAML file. And the reason is because our machine is in a cloud and it has its own IP address. So I just need to copy our IP address and swap it out with the local host in the Vite API host address, quickly save the file, and now I can run the command docker compose up build. This is a simple one-liner. It should pretty much spin up everything you need from the second you clone the repo, because all the default environment variables will launch DocsGPT as it should be launched. And in your case, you don't even need to change the Docker Compose YAML file unless you're launching it on a remote server. It's only in cases where you're using a remote server you need to launch it. So while it's building, I think I'll explain a little bit more on our installation instructions, which are also available here in our repository. You can use the quick start instructions. It just recommends you to use the .setup.sh. It will give you a prompt. It will give you options. Basically, the way I launched it is choosing the option number 1. And if you want to swap out any environment variables to use large language models that are remote or local, you can further configure all of those parameters inside the .env file. In terms of development environments, especially for our contributors, if you're developing DocsGPT, let's say a front-end side of things, what's important for you is hot reload. So if you changed code, let's say inside the front-end folder, it will hot reload. So you don't need to restart the Docker container every time you make changes inside the front-end folder. So actually for a development environment, the normal Docker Compose option will work out well for you. Everything will work as well as you need it to work. But for use cases where people want to obviously develop the application side, develop the Python code or make changes in the Python code, we have this quick little instruction. It requires you to launch MongoDB and Redis. There's a quick Docker Compose command to do it. And then to launch application and a worker, you just need to quickly run a few commands to install Venv. So it's your virtual Python environment. Yeah, just click launch and all should work from the box as intended. So as you can see here, it may take a few minutes to install DocsGPT. Sometimes it can take more than 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and it all depends on your network and machine. So the better your internet is, the better it will install, because there are a lot of dependencies. Since we're running LLMs, we're running similarity search and some other things, you all need to install dependencies. And those dependencies can be very, very heavy. I think since it's running and installing, I can probably talk about a project structure a little bit. Looks like application stuff is almost finished installing. I'll talk about the code structure a little bit. So remember how I mentioned, if you're launching DocsGPT with Docker Compose, you don't really need to worry about any other development environments if you just added the front-end folder, this folder. So all of our front-end code, all of our React code is located in this folder. And our application code, this is where we have our Python Flask application is located here. All of these files are related to it. I can run down through them very quickly a bit later. And then we have extensions folder. This is where we have some cool extensions like our React widget, which you can actually find here. This is our React widget. It's fully customizable. It's very cool. You can swap out themes. You can swap out icons if you want. So if you want to have a quick chatbot on your website, that's the one to use. We also have some examples of Discord extensions and Chatbot extensions. I think somebody submitted a PR to make a Telegram extension, but unfortunately, we already have a separate Telegram extension, but it's outside it's outside the original DocsGPT repo, but you can find the cool Telegram bot extension here. So if you want to build something like a Slack extension or some more complicated extensions with other apps, I suggest you check out this extensions folder. I suggest you check out the Telegram bot as an extension because yeah, if you want to build extensions, that's where you probably need to go and what you need to check out. And if you want to make like a documentation contribution, this is our docs. This is actually the website with our documentation, and you can submit articles, changes to articles. You can submit guides, and we do highly advise that you submit changes that are relatively large. If it's just a few typos that you found on 1 or 2 pages, it's okay to submit, but it's not really a big, meaningful contribution. I would think that if you want to do something, try to think of how much value is it adding to the project. Is it really like that much of an important contribution? And if you have any doubts before you write a PR, just message us in Discord. And I think that's a good way to go around it, because we will respond to you quickly and tell you if that contribution is something important, or maybe it's not that valuable, and maybe we don't really need some feature like this. Because sometimes people contribute features that are not there really. So if you're looking to look at ideas for contributions, you can go through GitHub issues. And here you will find a big list of different issues. We have more than 47 open. And if you have another idea of some sort of contribution that you can make, please open an issue. There's a quick way here to identify if it's a bug report, a feature, a little form to fill in. But it allows us to just sort through user submissions very quickly. And if you click on an issue, for example, like this one, right? It's a bit more complicated one. It will have a description about it. It will have some Figma files attached to it. And if you have any questions, you can quickly submit here in the comments. And if you want to contribute to it, just message it like that. This person, say you're interested, and we will assign you to it. We'll only assign people who ask us first. And then if maybe they find it challenging or complicated, we may assign it to other people. And that is very important. Sometimes you go to issues and you may look for issues that are assigned to nobody. And you may find very old issues or some simple bug reports where you don't really know how to contribute. I suggest you just look at issues that are already assigned, because there are some stale issues. We have some issues that are quite simply old, and maybe some people try to contribute to it. Maybe some people are assigned to it, but they're not working on it. So you can always ping people and ask them if they're working on an issue or not. Finally, the DocsGPT has been built. It's working now. Let's quickly try and connect to it. I think this is where the server is. I just copied the IP address. This IP 7091 is the one that is wrong. I think it's, sorry, give me a second. I think our IP that is used by default is the default React one. It's probably going to be this address. So as you can see, the DocsGPT has been spun up. This is our front end. It really is a 2-step installation. If you're using setup or just launching straight to Docker, you can make any edits in your Docker Compose files. And if you have any questions about Docker or want to learn a little bit about it, it's a very quick skill to learn, and it's a very useful skill. And because our application is complicated, Docker is the only way to quickly launch and deploy things on it. Let me maybe go through our issues a little bit more and just talk about it and say that like sometimes we have these Hacktoberfest labels. I try to put them on, but not all issues have them. And if you contribute to an issue without a Hacktoberfest label, it still counts towards your Hacktoberfest contribution. I think I wanted to also maybe show you quickly some GitHub commands. So, for example, I have this issue that I'm working on. It's a GitHub loader. It's actually a tool that will scrape all of GitHub and ingest it in a large language model and allow you to have a chat with it. So I have committed it to my branch in my GitHub desktop. And if I want to create a pull request, the easiest way is to install this GitHub desktop and just click create pull request. It will create the pull request. You can write a feature description, GitHub remote loader. And for example, this issue is not fully finished, and I know it's not finished. I will probably mark it as a draft pull request. This is very important because it gives us an opportunity to understand that this is still a work in progress PR. And let's say what kind of changes it's introducing, remote GitHub loader. And then why was this change needed? To load code from GitHub. And if there's any other information, I'll probably write it down. And once I create this draft PR, once I finish it, I can mark it as ready for review. And you will also see some CI/CD pipelines running here. It will basically check if your PR is building, if it has any minor errors. It doesn't really mean that if everything is green, everything is good. But if there are a few red ones here, that means some things need fixing. So for example, I have a linting error. So I probably need to look at details here. And I will see that I have a import that's being unused. So I probably need to go back and remove it and then contribute it again. And the CI/CD pipelines will probably succeed all of them. But it's very important to make sure that CI/CD pipelines succeed on your PRs because like that's one of the first things we're looking at when we're looking at the issues that people contributed. And finally, this is how code contributions look like mostly. If you have a contribution that's a bit more no code, like blog, documentation, article, or some sort of a video that you want to publish, those contributions are also meaningful in our eyes. I think they're very, very important. And if you have an article you want to publish, some cool idea you want to do, please message us in Discord. Also, we can link to your article on our documentation page. So if it's some useful article of, let's say, how to launch DocsGPT in some special environment, we can just create a link and refer to you. Like this article, for example, was submitted to talk about deploying DocsGPT on DigitalOcean. We think it's a meaningful, very important PR. It really helps users to understand how to use DocsGPT on this cloud environment. And finally, once you finish your PR, once you finish your contribution, once it's been merged, and you think that's it, and you want to participate in this t-shirt event and win a t-shirt and also get a holopin, we will send holopins right after the PRs, usually in GitHub, so you don't really need to submit a form for holopin, but please do submit a form for a t-shirt. You can quickly submit it here. This is the link to the form. So just email your GitHub nickname, address, so that we know where to send the t-shirt to, and make sure that this address is active for like a month or two, because it may take some time to get delivered. Finally, your phone number and your link to your PR or a contribution. So if you made a blog post, a video, or something really cool, please just submit your link to a contribution, and we will review it, and hopefully you will get the t-shirt.
Or API extension also.
Yeah, or an API extension, absolutely. If you have an API extension, sometimes you can contribute it here, but if this API extension is quite large, we do recommend that you just create a separate repo for it. You know, if you just send us a link to a repository that you made with the API extension, that's absolutely cool. I think I will let Pavel talk about API extensions now, because he built a pretty cool API extensions for us recently, and that's the one that I actually just used to ask a question about Docker, and it copied the command right into my clipboard, and it took me less than a second to copy paste it into the terminal. So please, Pavel, tell us about the API extension contributions.
So as described is in Markdown file in our repo. If you have original idea that you are willing to contribute, which doesn't necessarily bring any new features to DocsGPT itself, or fix any bugs, but is built on top of DocsGPT API, you can also take part in this giveaway. I think we'll double check with Alex after the stream and update Hacktoberfest. I think it will be a separate prize pool for that content. So if you think that too many people are taking part in normal contributions to Hacktoberfest, and you have an original idea of how to use an LLM to create some agentic behavior, or to create extension, maybe even just know how to create a nice widget, or something, some Chrome extension, for example, that uses DocsGPT API, you can also contribute that. As Alex explained, to contribute it, you either can submit PR to DocsGPT repository, or you can create your own public repository and submit it to us in a form. But we also recommend to connect with us in Discord probably, so there are no mix-ups for that. As Alex also mentioned, you can start looking at extensions folder in DocsGPT repository to understand maybe how to connect an API and understand it a bit better, or visit Telegram bot extension, which is in our ARC53 home GitHub list. You can find it there, or also you can check out the DocsGPT CLI extension. It's written on Go, not Python this time, so for somebody who is looking to contribute in other language, you can probably also look how we connect to APIs there, but there is nothing special. It's really simple. Just you can also refer to our documentation, as it has all API covered. So I think, yes.
I think with the API, somebody also, sorry, Pavel, actually left a comment in the chat about how to explore API. We recently had a pretty big change. Thank you, Sid, for this huge change.
I think it says have to explore, but yeah.
But let me just share my screen again quickly, because it's a very, very neat feature. So once you launch your DocsGPT, right, your front end will run on a port 7091. All you need to do is to go to the front end, go to the root directory, and you will see this window. And this is actually a full documentation on all of the API endpoints that exist. So primarily for bots, you'll probably want to use this one, API answer. This is basically a non-streaming response, and then a streaming response, and then a search. So those are core 3 API endpoints for most extensions. But if you want to have a more rich functionality where you add your prompt, where you add remote sources or local sources, or upload some data with the extension, those are all the endpoints that you can use. And those endpoints, they're just immediately available to you on our backend. And those are available on the open source version, and you can just quickly look through them and figure out what you need, what you want to do. And yeah, this is probably the easiest way to explore the API.
I think we'll now move to LexEU challenge. And if you have any questions of any sort about DocsGPT or challenges, just type them in the chat. We'll try to answer them.
Yeah, I'll show you some details on sorry, there's another comment. What extensions you guys looking for now for contributors to build? Anything interesting, right? Anything interesting. Are you using any tools every day? Are you using, I don't know, WhatsApp Messenger, or are you using Discord frequently? You know, just think about what you're using every day. Find the pain point that you think is solvable with AI, with LLMs, and just contribute to it. I think this is probably the best way.
Or maybe even the search API. For example, you can create search widget, maybe, then Chrome extension that automatically scrapes current website if you want, and you can ask questions about it.
So you see, we have this on our documentation website. We have this search thing. It kind of shows you what's going on, but this is native search. But what you can probably do is integrate our similarity search, because the search from DocsGPT is actually very, very good. It's actually a very high quality search. So integrating something simple like this as a widget would be a cool idea as well, I think. All right, I'll try to cover our LexEU competition. And it's a very complicated, but also very rewarding competition. You can easily win, not easily, but you can win if you contribute something really cool. So $200 for the first place, $100 for the second, and $50 for the third place. All of our top 3 winners will receive a very special holopin. The deadline for submissions is 27th of October. The submissions are really just forks of DocsGPT. You just need to send us a link to your fork. You don't need to create a PR or anything like this. Just create a fork and then fill in a form. There's a form you can fill in for this competition as well. So let's go through this competition quickly and explain what it is and why it exists. So there's this really cool website called LexEU. They're doing, they want to do contract analysis using large language models. And let's say you have a lot of European laws and you have million tokens of European laws. That's a lot of tokens. And you want to analyze a contract using those laws. You're not going to parse through every single law and ask a question about every single law and analyze your contract using this method. But if you, for example, create a algorithm that efficiently uses vector search or graph databases or some other interesting methods and analyzes this document efficiently, then you can probably create some sort of algorithm that can analyze the document and find inconsistencies between laws and the document. And what you will need for this challenge is to download the test contract. We have a test contract available at this link. It's a simple Word document, actually. It's just 11 pages long. You don't need to read it yourself. AI should do the job, essentially. But it's also good to look at it to understand what kind of data is here. It's a contract that should obey European law. And it's public, it's available. Just download it, ingest it into your AI. Then please gather and ingest the data from here. This is EU website with all of the laws and legislations. There are, maybe 10,000, 15,000 of them. It should be pretty easy to scrape. They do have a policy on scraping. They do have robots.txt, so we suggest you comply with the robots.txt file, but I don't think the contents of files like this are under robots.txt. It's mostly like PDF files and whatever. But what you really need is text. It's best to gather textual data from here like this, because it's very easily parsable by AI. And finally, once you ingest all of this data in your vector store or graph database or something like this, you can optimize the retrieval process. So in DocsGPT, we have retrievers. And I actually suggest that you look at retrievers to start on this challenge. Go to this application retriever folder, and you will see classic RAG. This is what we're using to answer most of users' questions. But in your use case, you can make it more complicated. You can analyze every chunk of a document. You can analyze more things. You can make it more complicated, less complicated. It's really up to you. So you have complete freedom inside this file. And all you need to do is to just return this LLM object at the end, and it will stream the answer as it should. Or just compile a full answer here and then just yield it at the end. It's really up to you. But this should be a simple example of a file to use for you to build this retriever system. And when you're ingesting data, I do recommend you look into our application parser folder and maybe get some inspiration from our docs parser, because the content is in docs format. And maybe for European laws, you can use this HTML parser. And the next step for you will probably be analyzing this contract, checking this contract for any inconsistencies. Because we're not going to tell you what the problems are with the contract, but there are some problems hidden in it, and you need to find them. Once you think your algorithm is good enough, you found certain amount of corrections or inconsistencies that can be made, please submit it. And then also, submission, make sure that you're not using more than 500,000 tokens. Because like I explained initially, this task is all about efficiency and accuracy, right? But you kind of need to find the balance between those two. And if we allow users to use up, let's say, millions and millions of tokens, maybe you don't really need to create an efficient system where you do vector search or graph search. So there is a limit of amount of tokens you can use, and we will check it. We will check that your AI is not using too many tokens. And finally, your submission should just be a fork of DocsGPT, where ingestion and analysis steps can be replicated. You don't really have to code up a solution that will look very well, that will have a great UI. Just give us a short file with instructions so we can replicate what you did. Because if we can't replicate it, we can't verify the quality of your submission. To submit, just fill in the form. And then after you submit it, we will try to replicate it. We will check the amount of tokens. And we'll also have a private contract. We'll have one contract that we will not release publicly until the competition is over. And using that contract, we will evaluate all of your submissions. And the person that has an optimum amount of tokens that being used during the analysis, and the person that finds the most inconsistencies or corrections that are needed will win the prize, and the second and the third prize respectively. I don't think there are going to be too many people submitting complicated solutions. So I think everyone has a really, really good chance at winning this competition if they understand what this competition is about, if they understand what this document analysis part is about. I think you have a great opportunity of actually winning this competition. And there are some resources here which you can use to guide yourself during the competition, like documentation or Discord. You can just reach out to us. there. We'll try to help you as much as we can. And then finally, this is the retrievers folder. This is what I just mentioned, that you probably need to edit this folder, this file, because this is the most efficient way to do it. You can probably edit other files, other folders, but this is the most efficient way to do it. And then finally, worker PI for your ingestion. Does anybody have any questions about this competition? I see there were some comments. Pavel?
No, not really. I think it's explained it well. I just wanted to maybe say that while you're in DocsGPT structure, to maybe tell users more about parser and retriever, and that they will be a good place to look if you want to commit just to DocsGPT.
Yeah, those are actually some of the best places for your contributions. So like we have, for example, a few issues that are open for Google Drive ingestion, Dropbox ingestion, SharePoint ingestion. All of those ingestion methods are relatively simple. What you need to make them work is to add the remote ingester here. You need to add a file here in the parser folder, remote. Make sure it works well, and then make some adjustments inside your worker PY file just to add it so it can be created. So just like we have this file remote creator, just add your ingestion method here, and also make sure that you add details in your front end. So let me actually show you a PR of a contribution that's kind of like this. So you'll probably need to edit few files. Number one, I edited the routes file so that we can ingest our data here so that it is aware of a special repo PR field. So whenever people are adding, let's say, a GitHub link, they need to submit a link. This is a way to handle a link. It's a quick example, very easy one to do. And then this is my GitHub parser. It will basically download every file, but then what's important is it will provide text. It will return it in form of documents, right? And I add GitHub here, so it's available whenever somebody is parsing or uploading it. And finally, in our front end, I just added GitHub as an option, and I made sure that this repo URL link is being sent. So this is how the input form will essentially look like with the input link. This is pretty much the example of a parser contribution. But also we are really looking towards retriever contributions. Retriever contributions are contributions that introduce some RAG processes. So you can just make a copy of this classic RAG PY and just think to yourself, how can I improve this process? Maybe you can make a query before you do the vector search thing. So vector search thing is usually hidden in this get data. This should just return documents that were used to make the answer. But also, you can make it more complicated. You can include like reflection steps. You can include way more steps to make it more efficient and smart. And as you see here, we have this LLM creator. This is our abstract class where you can just quickly import LLM model and just use it the way you want to use it. It's a very nice place to build retrievers in because you don't need to handle many imports. You don't need to worry about vector search here as much. All you just worry about here is the logic that LLMs will take to answer a question. All right. Finally, I think I wanted to touch upon LLM Price Compass. This is also something you can contribute. Maybe we don't talk about it enough, but it's a very cool contribution because what we want to do is we want to make sure there's a way for people to deploy LLM on premises or deploy it on some cloud, essentially at the same price as big companies are doing it, like Grok or Deep Infra. And as you see here, we're showing how much it costs per million tokens to input tokens and output tokens, and you can compare prices across providers. So those are managed providers, and we're comparing it to GPUs. So this GPU, for example, if it was hosted on Scaleway, if it was hosted in a special way and deployed in a special way, you can see how much it would cost. And if you have a good and efficient way of deploying LLMs, personally, I really like this project SGAline. And I'm sure that if you try this project, and if you try to deploy LLM on some large GPU, you can actually beat Grok even with them, because they're pretty cool, and you can get a huge token per second speed. And if you figure out a recipe to make it work, all you need to do is go to issues, click on a create issue, benchmark result, just fill in this form for us, and we will review it and add it to benchmark. For example, we had a contributor that did it previously. You can look at this example, and it's quite well explained. Also attach some reports from the benchmark. And yeah, just like this, I can quickly automatically add it into our table. And this table that you see here, it updates automatically. So whenever people submit benchmarks, it will be automatically updated. I do highly recommend that you focus on benchmarks that are efficient, because this is the target. What we're trying to achieve is high efficiency. So if you can achieve high token through output, that's great. And I think that's something that can allow us to beat some really big managed inference providers. All right. I think that's pretty much it in terms of main point that we wanted to cover today. If anyone has any questions, anything in the chat, we'll be happy to answer. So Senpati messaged that they're using Discord all day and the extension is already done. I just want to make a quick note that Discord extension does not handle memory. It does not handle any important features of a chatbot. So if you can use that extension as a baseline and just contribute those features like history, for example, that would be amazing. Please check out the Discord extension. It definitely needs some help. It needs some people to help it, because it's very fresh and very, very bad, actually. I think I contributed in like few hours of work or something, or even less than that. I'm not sure. Okay. I think this pretty much rounds up everything I wanted to discuss today, guys. If you have any more questions, reach out to us on Discord. If you are thinking of contributing, yeah, come to Discord, just reach out, submit your ideas. And I hope you can try and win some of those big retriever prizes with the LexEU competition.
I just wanted to add quickly. So if you're looking to contribute, take a look at retrievers, parsers, especially the remote ones. And on front end, probably the analytics section, like the three parts of DocsGPT where it will be easiest to find something you can contribute that will have a meaning. But also, if you build something with API or have a blog post, documentation post, that will be also great. So if you don't have questions, guys, I think it will be it from us.
Right. Yeah, bye-bye. Have a good rest of your Thursday. I hope you can enjoy Hacktoberfest with us and start your journey in open source with us as well. Bye-bye,
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you very much, guys.